Thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of In the Chair. Today's guest is Brandon Trusso, a local comedian in Buffalo, New York, who's moving to New York City to see if he can make it there. We have our barber, David, cutting him because this is his normal barber. And yeah, we're going to get going on this and see how we do. So, let's roll.
Do this shit.
Do you have a sprayer that's quieter for camera?
Okay, let's get into this.
Yeah, man.
So, you have been a comedian for how many years?
Started in 2007. That was the first time I ever went on stage.
What is that?
That was 2007.
13 years ago?
Yeah.
Is that good math?
That's good math, dude.
Off the rip.
You're good.
Okay, so 2007.
Yep.
You've been doing it for the last 13 years.
Yeah. I've been doing it for 13 years. I mean, like I said, 2007 is the first time I went on stage. I went to an open mic. I was kind of coaxed into it by a friend of mine who did comedy. And I just went, and I went to go observe, and they're like, hey, we signed you up for tonight. And I was like, oh my God.
Just go up there and tell a couple of jokes.
Yeah, just go up there and do the most terrifying thing in your life.
So why did they think you were good, funny enough to be up there?
So this comic was at my apartment, and he was like looking through some of the things that I wrote. I had like a
Oh, so you wanted to do it?
Yeah, I used to write.
Okay.
I used to write stuff like all the time. Like ever since I was a kid, like I loved stand-up comedy. So I used to like write stuff like in like a composition notebook. And he like just was like going through it like very rudely, by the way, because I like just was like sitting on the side of my table, and he just like started going through it and reading it. And he's like, "Dude, this stuff's funny, man. You should do comedy." And I was like, "Oh, no." I'm like, "No, I don't think I'd ever want to get up on stage like that." And he's like, "I do it. It's great." He's like, "There's a open mic that runs weekly every Tuesday at Nietzsche's. You should come down and do it." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "I'll do it." And I showed up, and I remember I came down. I was like, "I'm gonna come down there. I just want to observe." That's what I told him. I was like, "I just want to come observe and see how everyone else is." And I prepared a couple minutes just in case. And they're like, "We put you on. You're going last." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I was so nervous, dude."
Last?
Yeah, you're going last. I'm like, "Cool. I'll just shit in the bathroom the whole time."
Yeah, if you guys need me, just knock on the stall.
Right.
I'll be right in here.
Yeah, so I just went, paced every square inch of that place and walked back and forth. And
do people laugh at the set?
I actually did really, really well my first time, surprisingly. I mean, if I went back and watched that film, I'd like cringe probably. Yeah, but I invited some people, and like I was like, I had a good set, and then you're hooked. Then I was like, okay, I got to do this every week for the rest of my life.
How many people do you think were up there?
At that night, who were performing?
Yeah.
There was probably, it was an open mic, so there's probably like maybe like 15, 20 comics booked.
No, like patrons.
Oh.
Like the crowd.
I would say there was probably a good like 35, 40 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And your biggest show was what? Because I saw on like Instagram you just did one.
The biggest show I did? Oh my God, the biggest show I did was like 780 people.
So from 30 people to...
Yeah. There's been a lot of shit in between that though.
So 700 people. Did 700 people do you think at one point you had the whole room laughing?
Oh yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, that was a theater that we did that in. That was at the Hannah Theater in Cleveland. And that was, theater shows are different, man. When you create laughter in a theater, you actually have to like wait like a half a second for the laughter to get to you. Uh-huh. Because your punches have to be different, because it's not like a small intimate setting where like the acoustics like just bounce off the ceiling and reflect, come back to you. You have to wait for that to like roll to you. It's weird. It's weird.
Well, so you have recently, I feel like within the last 6 months, decided that you really want to like take comedy on full swing and kind of like give it.
Yeah, well, I was the plan to move has always kind of been like in the back of my mind. Like I always was like, I knew that like Buffalo wasn't the, final destination for where I wanted to be. Like I knew I would have to go somewhere else. And I was gearing my mind up towards that for a while, you know, and it's hard when that's something that like you don't really want to like leave your home, you know what I'm saying? So you have to kind of like prepare yourself. You make excuses. I got involved in a relationship that kind of knocked me off that path, and I used that to kind of like settle into. And then when that relationship ended, it really like became clear to me that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And so that's why like when I made the decision to move, you know, everything kind of just lined up the right way. You know what I mean? It's a stressful thing. I mean, like ripping yourself out of your home and like going and, you know, I've lived by myself for 9 years. Now I'm going to have, you know, a roommate in New York City and you know, in the same square foot apartment that I'm in by myself. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
that's good though.
Yeah. I mean, my apartment now is 750 square feet and this apartment's like 730. But, you know, you're adding another person in and I have my dog and it's like, you know, it's something that you stress out about. You're like, oh, everything lined up great. Like it's been, you know, it's a stressful thing, but it's been pretty, you know, cut and dry as far as we went out there, we looked, we found a place within 2 days, and it was just, you know.
Who's moving with you?
A gentleman named Colin Chamberlain. He's a comic from Pittsburgh.
Oh, you guys are both doing the same thing.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so here we go. How the hell are you gonna make money?
Well, I'm gonna have to get a job.
Off the rip.
Yeah, well, I have money saved. I mean, I worked at my job for 6 years, so I saved money throughout that. And, you know, but if I didn't, obviously I'm going to get a job to like make ends meet. You know, I can do anything. I can bartend, I can go into a barber shop and make appointments for people. Yeah. But, yeah, I'll find something to do. Like it's basically, I mean, comics that work in New York City, like if they're not doing comedy full time, they have day jobs.
So what's the goal? Like you're at a comedy show and someone sees you and they're like a big name and something and...
Well, yeah, I think that's what, you know, when you're chasing after something like this, there's, you know, everybody's line to success isn't the same. You know what I mean? Everybody's story isn't the same. I think that there's definitely different, there's maybe like the recipe that everybody has, the idea that works in their mind. And, you know, you see everyone else the way that they did it. You know, you get down there and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, I'll go hang out at the clubs, like the most popular clubs down there. And that's the thing about comedy is like, yeah, getting up on stage and being funny, like, yeah, that's the important thing. But there's also like a whole other world behind it that people don't see. Like you have to network, you're the product. You know what I mean? Like I was in sales for 6 years and it's almost very similar. Like you have to sell yourself as a genuine person and as a person that people like and like, you know, want to hang with and want to like offer things to be. Obviously you have to be funny and you have to be good on stage. But once you can do that and you get your foot in the door that way, and then people are like, yeah, we'd like, you know, this guy's pretty cool. He's funny. Let's get him some time. But you have to hang out at the places. You have to kind of do lay the groundwork, you know, because you're almost like, I'm basically starting over there. You know, I have connections here. I've been doing it for a long time. I met a lot of people opening and featuring for comics and headliners across the country. But you have to nurture those connections. You know, when you go down there and you see somebody that you worked with, you can't be afraid to go up to them and be like, hey man, what's going on? You know, or you can't just expect them to say, oh, hey, Brandon, what's up? You know, you have to go up to them and be like, hey, you know, that's part of networking. That's part of, and that's in any sales job or you know, job where you have to like, you know, sell yourself as, you know, a successful person. I lived in LA for a couple years when I was younger, but that wasn't going to pursue.
You weren't just doing comedy.
I was doing just drugs. I went to do just drugs on the West Coast. That's all I did. It wasn't really.
Yeah, drugs on the East Coast aren't that great. I was trying the West Coast.
I was sick of the drugs on the East Coast. I was like, let's do the drugs on the West Coast and see how much better they are out there. But yeah, that was just something that I always wanted to live in the West Coast. I'm happy I did it. But I'll tell you, I mean, I learned a lot from that. You know what I mean? Of what it takes to like.
How old were you when you went?
I was 27 when I did that. I'll be 39 in October. That's another thing too. It's like I'm not 27 anymore, so that like making this decision was a little bit, you know, more difficult. Like I was working at a job where I had a career. I was making great money, and I had to like, you know, make the decision.
You know
to
what
leave
though?
that all behind.
Yeah, if you didn't do it, like 10 years down the line, if you're married with kids, like you probably always regret not. You'd be like the dad that's like, you got to do it. I regret not doing it.
Oh my God, 100%.
You had to do it.
I say that to I say that to people all the time. Like I wish, and I'm not trying to like be the example, but I guess doing all stuff like this, like I will be. Like I wish people chased what they love to do more. You know what I mean? Like it gets lost in translation a lot now when you're asked as a little kid, like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And someone's like, I want to be this and I want to be that. I think from that age to college is where things change, and they're like, oh, I got to be this professional now, and I have to work in corporate America and do all these things, and it's not really what they really wanted to do. They're doing it because they feel that they have to. But I did that for a long time too, and most people do. And when you decide that you want to do something that you really love, you'll always start to make excuses of why you can't do it. That's too hard. I have a family, or I have. Obviously, money is an important thing. Like I have, but if you save correctly and you like work towards it, taking big risks and stuff like that, like that's part of life. That's the excitement of it,
And I guess like when you know what you want to do, it's not really a risk. It's just a matter of just like doing it or not doing it. Because like you're popular around here, you're funny around here. Like I don't know. I feel like all New York has to do is find out who you are. I feel like that's how pretty much all comedians are.
Obviously, you want to go to another city and you want to be successful and you want to blow up and make it, like whatever the version of make it is. But there's other reasons why I want to go to New York. Like, when you get to Buffalo's a small town, like, and when you're a big fish in a small pond, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get to a certain level and you're like, okay, I want the next. Like, complacency is like one of the biggest killers of success. And I felt that way recently. I felt complacent, and I'm not saying that I've learned everything I can learn here, because I feel like you're always learning. But I know for myself that the next step is a bigger market. And I'm following that, I'm following my heart. And I want to go out to not just blow up, but I want to go learn more. I want to be, there's other comics that are doing what I want to do. And there's other comics that are better than I am and are more talented than I am. But I want some of that information now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to sit around here and just hope I run into comics that are better than me. I want to go in the bigger market where I can see like, oh wow, this guy's amazing. Like I can learn from, national touring headliners that I see at open mics and clubs that are, on a regular, and I can do that 6 nights a week instead of hoping I get booked at a club once a month here. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference.
How long will you like give this? Or are you like, this is like a move, right?
This is a move. I don't, honestly, I've talked to people like, if it doesn't work out, then you can always come back. Like, that's not even thought in my mind.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in like, dude, if you're doing something, you do it.
I've never...
You can't plan for failure.
I don't plan for failure. Yeah, I plan for success. And I'll tell you right now, like in the industry that I'm going into, like age isn't really a factor. You know what I mean? I'm going to be 39 years old, but like there's people that have been doing this stuff.
Dude, didn't Jim Gaffigan get like super popular like later in life?
Sure. And plus it's something that like I can always do, man. Like I can always do comedy. You know what I mean? And it's
Bob Saget.
Dude, I love that dude. I love Bob Saget.
Worst comedian ever.
Yeah. But I've never thought along those lines. I never thought along the lines of what if it doesn't work. And that's actually something where I look at that, and I've always had like little ideas of things I want to do with my life. I remember like even back like when I was in my 20s and I was like partying all the time and using drugs all the time before I got sober. I was always like what do I want to do with my life? It would stress me out. It would make me depressed. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then when I realized like this is what I should be doing, like it was almost like an epiphany, like this is what I should be doing. I never had failure as an option. I never did. And I think people that like are doing what they want to do or going towards what they want to do don't think about failure.
Okay, so we just touched on sobriety. I didn't know that there was anything with that. So how long have you been sober?
I've been sober since July 12th, 2015.
Okay.
So 4 years.
There actually was a breaking point. When did you like say enough's enough?
Yeah, I always.
And if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
No, dude, talk about it.
That day, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, well, like a rock bottom kind of thing. Well, I guess, you know, like, sobriety always has their like quirky little like I don't say catchphrases, but the, like, you know, these little like things that like, you know, make sense, that are like, you know, simple sayings. And, you know, like everybody's rock bottom is different. I think I had a few of them actually, like, you know, I remember one specific incident where I was just, you know, I was using hard all day, and I just remember like looking in the mirror and being like, this is not the life that you're destined for. And I remember saying that over and over and over in my head, and knowing like, you know, whatever I was out of that I was using was like, you know, I'm gonna start suffering withdrawal symptoms soon. So I like, you know, pulled the panic alarm and started like texting my family members and letting them know like what was going on. And I contacted them being like, I gotta tell you what's going on and all that stuff.
No one had any idea.
I think like a few friends may have had an idea. No one had an idea how bad it was. And
Bad spiraled out.
yeah, and it's because it did. It spiraled out of control financially. It spiraled out of control, you know, like when you're just in it, you're in it. And, you know, I let everyone know what was up, and I told them, you know, that I had a problem and I needed to, you know, get it under control. And I didn't really know what it would all entail, but I know that, you know, when everyone came over and I saw how supportive they were, we started to formulate this little plan and like what I had to do to try and get back on the track. And it was you know, that's the one thing about sobriety that people don't understand, is that it's a long road. Like it's a life-changing road, and you can't become sober just by like, you know, taking, you know, just by going into like a meeting and thinking that that's going to like solve everything. You have to like change your life, and like, you know, and not everyone's ready for that. You know, you have to really want to do those things. And once I started doing that and realized that there's like, you know, a better side of life without using, you know, things started to line up for me. I did have a bump in the road where there was a relapse. And, but you know, the hardest thing about relapsing is coming out and like telling everybody that you fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, and because it's embarrassing.
It's probably embarrassing, yeah.
It's embarrassing. It's stressful. You thought that you let everybody down, like everyone that, you know, you were holding yourself accountable with, like you were lying to. And I had to come out of that, and I learned a lot from that.
How long into sobriety did you relapse?
A year.
What triggered the relapse? Like, what would you say? Like, what is it that like the people who you surrounded yourself in the past? Or
Well, I think the first time I did it, the first time I went, you know, the first time I went clean, I didn't go completely clean. I was still drinking socially, and you know, I remember I was cleaning out my closet, and I found a pill that I was, you know, the ones I was addicted to, in one of my jackets. And it was one of those moments where I was like, I could throw this out, or I can hop back on this train. My face is burning.
Is it?
No.
So before we wrap up, and you know, before you move, what are like your top 2 goals for, let's go, the next 5 years and then like the next year?
Oh, I would say my next goal would be to, you know, be actively working, be actively performing in a bigger market. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like a year goal right now is a daunting thing, because I have a very big, you know, move coming up. Like there's going to be some settling time that needs to happen. But I would say within the next year, I want to be actively working. I want connections to be made. You know, I could sit here and be like, oh yeah, I'd like to have a Netflix special. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of like, you know, my realistic thing would be to just start making strides in a big market and start to be known, you know, within that circle as someone that works hard and someone that's very funny. You know, I mean, I know that I'm capable of that, and I know that I'm talented, and I know that I have, you know, a knack for, you know, the stage and the camera and stuff like that. And I want to put those talents to use. And, you know, I would say a year from now, I'd like to be, you know, actively doing that stuff.
Nah, you're gonna kill it. No doubt. No doubt, you're gonna kill it. Thanks for watching our video. If you want to see more, subscribe, like, comment, let us know how we did. If not, you.